Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making over this table and chair and giving more of an updated farmhouse style. And I've enlisted my husband to sand both pieces lightly and give them a good coat of black spray paint. I wanted this base coat for a couple of reasons. One is I want that dark black color to be able to distress down to. Also, it kind of helps seal it so that I don't have any bleed through issues. And now I'm going over this with 2 coats of the drop cloth in the Dixie Belle. And I'm not sponsored by anyone, but this is just the color that I chose to use on this piece. And I really like the drop cloth. It's a good It's not white, but it's not too tan either. It's just a real good off-white color, and I use it a lot. So what I don't show on this piece is once both of my coats are dry, then because I have used this enamel paint on the bottom for a base coat in the black, and then this off-white is a chalk paint. It distresses with just a damp cloth. So this chalk paint is a water base, and until you seal it, then just water will take it off. So like I said, you're just able to take a damp cloth and wipe around the edges and get a really pretty distress. I could have sanded that down, but because I painted that black today, it might not have been cured enough, and then I might accidentally sand through the black also. So I like to distress with just water when I can, or just a wet cloth. And here, these little feet, they were kind of a brass color. I'm not sure what they were made from, but I just thought painting those black would give them a good updated look. And now I have this big script stamp. It's the Kindest Regards, and I'm sure you've seen me use it before if you've been watching me long at all. But I love this because it's so large, and I like to put it on drawer fronts a lot of times. So I'm going to just ink that up well, and I made sure that I added some ink to my stamp my stamp pad, because when I'm doing a large stencil like this, I want to make sure that I have enough ink on it. And this drawer takes me a couple of times because it's not long enough for that. But, with this script, you can just kind of, after you've done your first stamping, you can just kind of ink up part of it, and then just kind of continue that. And if it overlaps a little bit, it's not a big deal. It still looks really pretty. And I purposely put this at an angle because I felt like that would be a better look. And like I said, because this didn't reach, I had to ink it up a little bit more and add to that corner there. Another option here, if you don't have a stamp like this, is to maybe decoupage with something on the drawer. And that would add a little character to it. But I wanted this script this time. Now here I am just with this damp cloth and just rubbing across those raised edges. And that's where I want to distress. I don't want a heavy distress on this, but I do want it to be an obvious distress around these edges. And like I said, I do that on the whole piece, not just the drawer. Now this piece came with kind of a brass colored handle, and I chose to spray paint that black also, and I just felt like it would update this more and give it more of a farmhouse feel. A piece like this, you could easily add a more of a decorative drawer pull, because you've only got this one that you have to buy. But I really like this once it was spray painted black. I really lucked up with this piece because it was in such good condition. Look at the inside of that drawer. It was just as clean. And my neighbor had put this out on the curb for trash pickup. So I didn't have to pay anything at all for this. So like I said, I've already distressed this piece, and now all I have to do is add my scripture stamp to the drawer. And then I'm just going to go over the entire piece with a coat of clear wax. And this is the Jolie clear wax. It's more of a pasty wax, and I don't want to add any color in this. I just want it to be very well protected. And this wax gives it a really good feel. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and is supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button, and that will notify you every time I upload a new video. And I will be uploading another one tomorrow. I think I'm going to start early with with some Easter decor. And there's the table finished, and now I'm going to start on this chair. And just like I said, my husband lightly sanded this one also and base coated it with black. And now I'm just going to give this one a couple of coats of that same drop cloth color chalk paint. This paint, a lot of times I just have to do one coat, but for some reason on both of these pieces I did have to do 2 complete coats. And I like to start these chairs upside down because then you can see all that you wouldn't be able to see if you had it upright. But so I put 2 coats on this, and then it's ready for the next step. And so now I'm going to start covering that seat, and I'm going to use drop cloth here. I'm just kind of placing it to make sure that my piece is going to cover my seat here. And then I'm going to cut those edges to where it's not quite so bulky, and then cut this down to size, because I want to make sure before I cover this that I've placed my stencil where it needs to be, because I'm going to be using a stencil on this. And if you've never used a Lazy Susan to work off of, it makes your projects go really easy, especially in painting, because you can get to all the sides really well. And this stool, I just used the same way I used my Lazy Susans. I had this stool and it was padded, and I just took the padding off, and now I can lay small projects on this and not have to bend over as much to get to them. Now, if I weren't using a stencil on this seat, then I wouldn't have to go through as many steps. I would just go ahead and place that fabric on it, and then cut it where I needed it, and go ahead and attach it and cut off the excess. But because I need to put a stencil on this, I want to make sure that I get my stencil placement right before I go to attach my fabric. And there I am, just laying it over the top of that, and then I'm going to put my stencil on there and see where it needs to be placed. And then, like I said, I'll just go ahead and tape it down so that when I put it back on the seat, the placement is going to be right. And I want to make sure that I get it taped down really good, because I don't want it to be sliding on me. So now I'm just putting that down over cardboard instead of that seat, so that I have a good solid surface to work from. And just like I do with most of my stencils here, I've chosen a couple of different colors because I feel like it just adds more character to the piece to have more than one color in your stencil. And this, because it has a bee, I just decided to do this yellow and black, and I thought that worked out really well. And I use a makeup sponge to apply my stencils with, because I don't get the bleed through issues that I sometimes get with the stencil brushes. And I was really worried about this stencil because I felt it slip a couple of times, and I thought when I lift it up I'm going to have to start from scratch and do it all over again, but somehow it didn't happen, and it looked good when I finished it. And it's always nice in the end when you lift that up and you see that you have a good crisp stencil, and you haven't had any problems with it smearing. But I'm always nervous before I do that for some reason, especially with these larger stencils. But there it is, and I thought it turned out really well. So now I let this dry, and I'm going to attach it to my seat. And the reason that I left the old covering on this is because I was afraid if I took that off, this drop cloth wouldn't be thick enough, and I just felt like it worked out better to leave it on this time. Usually I take it off, and I'm hot gluing this down right now just to kind of hold it while I get it placed, and then I'll take it outside and staple that on because the air stapler seems like it does a better job than just the manual stapler. But this would probably hold if you don't have a stapler. I don't really know why this wouldn't hold, because you're gluing fabric to fabric, and that usually holds really well. And now all I have to do is attach this back onto the chair with the screws that I took out of it to take it off. And so it's a pretty simple fix on this chair. Now I do go back and do this script here just down the middle of the back, just to kind of marry the two pieces together. And I thought that added a lot to this. And there it is, finished, and both of my pieces together. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and have a great evening.